Hello all. Just finished watching season 2 episode 3 of Loki and struggling to know what to say really. So this review may be a little chaotic, pretty much like the show itself. Just lots of running around, lots of setting stuff up, and again lots of stuff happening. Lots of running but getting nowhere it seems. I'm sure there's a point. Anyway, I'll just do a quick spoilery review. The episode opens with Miss Minutes and Renslayer arriving in 1868. Miss Minutes tells Renslayer that he who remains has a plan, and the plan is to drop an envelope through a window. And the window is that of the variant of He Who Remains as a child, and what's in the envelope is a TVA operating manual. In the TVA, Loki and Morbius locate Renslayer, follow her to 1868. Can't find anything there because obviously they don't know about the window. So they fast forward to 1893 because there's a pickup of her there as well. And they walk straight into the Chicago World's Fair. Now, something I've not mentioned, but the design of this show is really lovely. And this again, it's fantastic design. The imagery, the sets, they're just great. So we now have Loki and Morbius just wandering around. They come across a kind of stereotypical Viking hall, and Loki gets uppity because Thor's there, Odin's there, and Balder the Brave. And Loki answers one of those questions about where he is by saying nobody's ever heard of him.
Typical MCU, a great comic book character reduced to a one-liner.
They wander around some more. They discover that Miss Minutes has been kind of scaring people as this spectral clock. They see an advert for a temporal show, go along, and there is He Who Remains, Jonathan Majors, acting like an utter clown. Really, genuinely, it's so cringeworthy. I thought that was an act, because you discover that he's a con man. So I thought that was an act to lull people into a false sense of security that he's kind of an idiot and harmless. But no, he's an idiot. Very smart, and obviously he's had the book to work from all these years, but he's still an utter clown. It's just embarrassing. Renslayer and Miss Minutes are there too. One of the people Victor cons is annoyed and chasing him. I think that's probably supposed to be Edison. He gives him the slip. There's this conversation between Morbius and Renslayer about how much they need Victor to use his aura so they can save the TVA. Lots of to and froing with the same conversations. Sylvie turns up out of nowhere. Presumably she traced their temporal paths. There's a confrontation of sorts between Loki and her, which generally consists of Loki once again just fending her off rather than actually using his powers properly. And then the one time she uses her powers properly, obviously, with barely even a struggle, she beats Loki. Everyone runs away in different directions.
When Miss Minutes distracts the crowd by turning into a giant clock ghost thing.
Renslayer, Miss Minutes with Victor. Loki and Morbius trying to find them. Don't know what happened to Sylvie. She just kind of disappears for a while. Victor and the two go back to his place, which was where the book was delivered. He says he has to go back to his lab, so they all leave and get on a boat. Victor's clicking as to what happened. He realises they're the ones who left the book. Miss Minutes is kind of getting jealous because Renslayer and Victor are connecting. And Miss Minutes manages to manipulate Victor into basically dumping Renslayer. They go to the lab to find this magical weird thing. No idea what it is, but it's something Victor has invented and it's his life's work. Obviously we don't get to find out what it is. Miss Minutes turns into an absolute stalker, so he puts her back in a remote control thing. I don't know where that's come from.
And given she's just done a speech about having complete autonomy, it seems like a little bit of a weird moment.
Renslayer turns up, starts threatening Victor. Loki and Morbius turn up. Same conversation again about needing him. Then big explosion as Sylvie turns up. Obviously, once again, knocking everybody off their feet. She walks up to Victor, intending to kill him. He talks her out of it, so Loki and Morbius take him back to the TVA. Meanwhile, Sylvie kicks Renslayer through a portal to the end of time, where the body of He Who Remains is sitting. Miss Minutes pops out of the device again and tells Renslayer that she knows a secret about her, and it's going to make her really, really mad. And that's about it, really. As I say, lots of stuff for very little content. Probably could have been compressed to a much shorter time. Every scene feels like it's longer than it needs to be. The whole scene with Victor showing his experiment is so long, and as I say, his performance is so cringeworthy. Could have been so much better if it was just tightened up a bit. You have a couple of moments of Loki being Loki, and obviously Sylvie beats him again, because as we know, every episode, Loki has to be made to look like an idiot at least once. Yeah, I honestly don't know what to say about this episode. Cringe is probably the best word. Lots of fuss and palaver. Almost at times felt like a silent movie. Kind of that weird freneticness, that unreal, over the top acting element to it. I'll go with cringeworthy. I think that's the best way to describe this episode. It wasn't awful, it wasn't terrible, but on the whole, it didn't really do a great deal for me. Now, I've heard that the series does hit the landing, and that's fine, but 3 episodes in, and as far as I'm concerned, they could have fit most of what they've just done in those 3 episodes in one episode. I don't know. I'll leave it there anyway. I've probably talked longer than I expected for what was a relatively uninspired episode. Once again, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts, whether you think I'm talking bollocks. I really don't mind if you tell me that. If you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much for listening. I do appreciate it. And peace out.